Hello everyone and welcome back to this brand new video. So today is Monday, and what does that mean? Mythic Monday, you guessed it. So for those of you who are new to the channel, Mythic Monday is a series where one of my subscribers recommends a mythic on Discord and I build a deck around it. So for this week the mythic chosen was Chevil, and this card is an insane card that's disguised in a fair card. Now why am I saying this? This card says that you can put a bounty counter on your opponent's permanents, and whenever a permanent with a bounty counter dies, I gain 3 life and I draw a card, and that makes all of our removal spells just simply 2-for-1s because they just replace themselves. Now, what's the plan with this deck? We're trying to abuse removal spells, and what removal spells are we running? We're running Murderous Rider and Assassin's Trophy, which is a take all removal spell. But you might not believe this, but this is not the best removal spell in our deck because Mythos is simply just an insane card, and it's the main reason why I'm in Abzan, because 3 mana destroy anything is simply so good that opponents are not going to be able to come back from this, trust me. So besides removal, what does this deck do? It's a mid-range deck, so it's trying to apply some pressure. What are our key creatures? Hunted Nightmare is very good because most of the time it's a 3 mana 4/5. Now this card is bad against Jund Sacrifice only if they have their Mayhem Devil. Why? Because if Mayhem Devil is on the field and then they give it Death Touch, they're just going to be able to machine gun all of your board, and that's not something obviously you want. So make sure you don't play it against an active Mayhem Devil. Please don't get yourself into that position. Midnight Reaper is kind of our anti-board wipe, because even if opponent board wipes with a Midnight Reaper on the field, you just get to draw some cards and kind of restock. Questing Beast is an insane overpowered mythic. Look at how much text this has. But the main thing that I like about this is that if opponent taps out or a Planeswalker bounces one of our creatures with maybe Teferi, we just get to slam in Questing Beast, attack him for 4, and then just kill that. And the other reason I really like Questing Beast is because of Sorin. Now Sorin is good because it gives all of our creatures lifelink, and that's very good against aggressive matchups like cycling and like mono red. But Questing Beast can be brought back by Sorin, and then sometimes you can win the game that way out of nowhere. Trust me, I've done it before. Pulukrinos is simply just a very good card, especially paired with Sorin. Now just imagine having an active Sorin and the Pulukrinos. For each fight you will gain 6 life and then maybe 5 life, and that's going to be enough to run away with most games. Our Crypt Toppers are Vivian and Commander Dreadhorde. Now I really like Vivian in this deck because you can sometimes maybe cast Questing Beast, minus Vivian, cast Questing Beast, and then maybe get your Midnight Reaper. That way you have 2 threats your opponent has to deal with, and just having the plus ability is good. And looking at the top card, the effect, and then casting creatures from the top is super good in this deck because we run so many creatures. And the last thing is Commander Dreadhorde. So usually if opponent taps out for a board wipe and then you can untap Commander Dreadhorde, get back so many things. You can get back, like the main thing that you usually go for is Sorin Questing Beast, and then that way you can directly gain the life that you lost, and that's super good. So that's going to be pretty much it for the DeckTech. I'm going to show you the sideboard in a bit. Castle Lodgewain is the main mana base card I want to show you. Besides that, I'm going to leave the rest of the deck in the description down below, so don't worry about that. But this card is so good paired up with Sorin because we get to gain so much life that the drawback of losing life from Castle just goes away. For our sideboard might change in the future, but what I noticed by testing is that our bad matchups are Flash and Control. So what do we do against Flash and Control decks? We side in our Shifting Ceratops and our Nightpack Ambushers, and we side out the expensive spells, like for example Commander Dreadhorde, Vivian, and Sorin. Against cycling decks, we play Archaea. Usually you don't need too much graveyard hate because you just have access to so many removal spells for the early threats that you can just capitalize with Archaea later on. Cry of the Carnarium is also against mono red. Now our mono red matchup isn't that bad because of how much life gain we have early on, but that's always something that you can bring in maybe by siding out also the command and things like are too expensive. Find Finality is here for the grindy mid-range games or the controlled games because Find is simply overpowered, and I'll tell you about Find Finality in a bit. And Agonizing Remorse is also against the control decks because you can just disrupt their hand, or maybe against Reclamation decks you can bring this in. Alright, so for Find Finality, Find is super good on its own because you get to recur 2 things, and against mid-range matchups this is simply a blowout because if you Finality at any stage, kill all of your opponent's board, maybe have a Questing Beast survive or a Chevil survive, I can assure you that you're just going to win the game. So that's going to be pretty much it for the DeckTech. If you did enjoy this deck, before we get into the games, I would like to please ask you to subscribe because it helps the channel a lot. And with that out of the way, let's get into our games. Going into our first game of Chevil Midrange, I'm super excited to see how this deck is going to play out. And Chevil in general, it looks like such a cool card that I'm really excited to test out, and maybe post rotation that card gets to shine a bit more. So let's see. Opponent is taking his time considering whether he wants to start or whether he wants me to start. I don't know why. Usually you would want to start in any case. So like, what's going on, opponent? What's the issue? Let's see. Opponent is not going to answer me. Opponent is just going to slow roll us. Alright. This is a very bad hand. Really, I mean, no hand, no lands. It's not something that's good. Opponent is choosing whether or not to mulligan. If opponent takes time to choose to mulligan, as long as he takes to decide if he goes first, I mean, we're in a bit of a trouble. Because like, that seems like it's just going to take forever. Opponent, please, please. It's 2 AM currently and I kind of want to get to sleep. Alright, opponent chooses to keep. I'm going to mulligan. That's not that bad. That's not that better of a hand, but I think I just keep it. Turn 2 Chevil might just get us back into things. Why did I bottom Sorin? Because we don't have a white source and currently most of my hand is playable. Alright, opponent also takes time to think what land he wants to play, because you know, like, what land you play on turn 1 is gonna change the whole game. I mean, opponent, if you had 7 lands in your hand and you had to look at all of these options, maybe I would understand. But you have probably 3 lands in your hand. That's max. Alright, so we can safely tell that our opponent is not playing mono red, because usually mono red doesn't take that long to consider whether or not it wants to play its mountain or turn 1 or not. Alright, so maybe just opponent is disconnected and just being way too salty just because I'm tired and I want to sleep. Sorry, opponent. Alright, so opponent plays its Triome. Finally, we're just going to play our Overgrown Tomb and then we're just going to pass. Untapping with Chevil feels super good. I mean, this is probably Sultai Ramp, a matchup that I'm not really excited about. Yes, opponent, keep slow rolling every single play you do. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for like doing this. Alright, Questing Beast is a very good pickup, I'm not gonna lie. That's a very good 2-drop. This is a Gross Fire return, I'm assuming. Or maybe this is just Sultai Flash. Alright, this is probably not Sultai Flash if my Chevil resolved. So what's the deal, opponent? Alright, this is Sultai Flash. So let's see how can we play against this matchup. Well, I think we can play good against this matchup if we kind of hold our counter spells correctly, if we do the best we can. We can just out-tempo these decks. Alright, that's very good for me, because now we get to put a counter on him and then we get to Chevil remove. That's super good. I think the opponent is just desperate for his land drop, but I think that's just going to punish him super badly. Alright. So we're just going to Chevil, put a counter, destroy, gain some life. Oof, that looks and seems like a very good for a turn. Alright, so opponent has nothing he can do. Alright, so we're just going to play our castle, and then we're going to Mythos, and then we're going to kill this. That feels like a good turn. We're going to gain some life, draw some cards, another Chevil off the top is good. I think we can just attack, because like, I don't think anything has haste on our opponent's deck. He is playing Flash after all. So he might be setting up for a Frilled Mystic this turn if he plays a land. I'm probably gonna play my beast. Alright, so no Frilled Mystic is in sight. We're just going to play our Questing Beast, go right into a counter spell just because I wanna bait out as many as possible for Vivian in the future. Alright, opponent doesn't even want to continue this game, so like, I think our opponent just does not draw well, and I'm sorry for you, opponent. I think against Flash what you want to do is to play your Nightblack Ambushers, your Shifting Ceratops. And then Polukranos I think is just way too slow. Commanded Redwood is way too slow. I think Fight Finality is not something that's going to be relevant at any stage of this game. And I think we can safely cut down on 1 Sorin. Vivian can take over games maybe if we finally get to resolve it. And I think that's the plan. I think the plan is that Ceratops is good enough against them to pressure them into Oblivion, that Ceratops could be enough to just win us the game. I mean, 5 damage out of nowhere, that's a 4-turn clock, and if we had any kind of early on aggro start, we can just use that to win the game. Opponent, I'm very sorry for your draws, I'm really sorry, I hate when that happens as well, but like, I don't know what to tell you, it happens. Alright, we have a very slow start, but we have a Shifting Ceratops. Is that enough for me to keep? I don't think so, I think we just mulligan. That's not a better hand, but I think it's just decent enough to keep. Yeah, I think it's decent enough to keep, especially that we're going second. We're going to bottom the Bronze-Eyed Lion, and I think we're just trying to set up Chevil on turn 2. Chevil on turn 2 could be enough to just get us into a huge blowout. Alright, and Shifting Ceratops on curve could be enough. Yeah, I think we keep that land because it ensures that we have our Shifting Ceratops on turn 4. Shifting Ceratops on turn 4 can end games so quickly against these decks, it's not even funny. Alright, so opponent attacks with the Sailor. We're gonna probably walk into a Quench, so maybe I want to walk the Lion into a Quench instead of the Chevil. I think actually the Lion would pressure him more, so I think I don't mind walking the Chevil into a quench. Alright, Chevil resolves. That's something I'm curious about. Maybe he gets Brazen Borrowed. Yeah, he does. So that's fine, as long as opponent doesn't extend his board and apply more pressure. I think I'm happy with this sequence of events. Alright, he plays a land. He still doesn't have access to green, so Simic, Frill Mystic isn't something that I'm worried about. I think we just pass at this stage and then we Assassin's Trophy something, or we could just play the Lion. I think we just play the Lion at this stage, yeah. Alright, so we're not worried about a bunch of things. Nissa is not on our radar yet because he doesn't have access to green. Yeah, I think Quench might be something, Sinister Sabotage might be something. Besides that, I don't think opponent has access to that many things, because I think this is a Brazen Borrower thing, yeah. Opponent is trying to pressure us as much as possible, but Shifting Ceratops could turn the tide of pressure in our favor. So let's see what happens. Alright, opponent shocks in a green source, so what am I afraid of? I don't think I'm afraid of many things. Maybe this is just a Growth Spiral turn. Alright, I think we just slam in Shifting Ceratops. Fact that it has protection from blue, that it can't be countered. It's just good enough for me to just slam it, and maybe it can just run over the game. It probably will run over the game. It renders the Spectre Sailor useless, it renders the Borrower useless. And I don't think they have a good way of dealing with it, except maybe if they thought about that and then they brought in some kind of removal spell. Besides that, I don't think they have a bunch of good things. I'm gonna attack with the Lion just because we don't have anything to block with. And yes, Sailor and Borrower are enough are gonna deal damage to us in the air, so we can't block. Drawing a land next turn helps us set up Murderous Rider and Assassin's Trophy, and I think at that stage the game is simply over. And we can just keep the Ceratops up, now give it reach, block the Borrower or block the Sailor, and that's good enough also. Yeah, I think that's the plan. Another Ceratops is good, but I think I'm going with the plan that I previously discussed, which is just using the Ceratops and giving it reach. If opponent taps out for, he can't tap out for an Ambusher because he doesn't have another green source. I was thinking, what could he have for like 4 mana in these colors, but he can't have the Ambusher. Alright, that's fine with me. That's really fine with me. We're going to give our Ceratops reach and then block. Alright, opponent, I don't think he knows that Ceratops can have reach. Opponent, I think, knows. Yeah, I think opponent knows. Alright. So I think I'm fine with that sequence of turns. I think just untapping now feels good. And now we're just going to attack with our Lion. If opponent wants to block with his Sailor, that's fine with me. If he doesn't, I'm also really fine with that. So the plan is still going to be giving this reach and then Murderous Rider or something. Opponent blocks with his Sailor. I'm wondering what opponent just has in hand. If he's that, I think he's in a very bad spot currently. Maybe he has a lot of double green spells, maybe Nissa. What else could you have for double green? Nissa, maybe, what was it? Alright, or he just has another Sailor, but I'm thinking Nissa, maybe Ambusher. Alright, another Sailor is fine. I mean, it's not going to deal that much damage to us early on anyways. Alright, opponent still does not have double green for any Nissa or any Nightblack Ambusher, so we're fine. Do we Assassin's Trophy? At this stage, just opponent not having access to green mana doesn't force me to kind of give him access to that. So I think we just Murderous Rider the Spectre Sailor at unstep. And then if opponent kills it... Actually, I think we just win the game if opponent does anything that's too rash. Now the only thing that I'm afraid of is there's a 2-drop that has... it's a 2/2 that's it's a green, and you can pay X and then give it plus X counters. But besides that, there's nothing that can really stop us. Shifting Ceratops can just end the game. So we can deal 10 damage literally by giving this haste and then attacking with everything. Alright, is that the turn we win, or is that the turn opponent just has the thing that I mentioned and we get blown out? Let's see. Alright, we don't need to activate anything. Alright, let's attack with 2 Shifting Ceratops, and that I think is the game. That earns the game, opponent. Alright, that does earn us the game, and that's going to be pretty much it for the video. Yes, I know this video is short, but I'm very tired. I'm really sorry that this video is short, but Chevill has been such a good card, so I really encourage you to brew that deck. It's really fun to experiment with. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do consider subscribing. It helps the channel a lot. And with that, I'll see you guys next time.